Taking a look at some of the other top stories we're following tonight, a man accused of carjacking is behind bars after leading police on a wild chase.
The speeds exceeded 100 miles an hour before this crash near the Durham Freeway. Troy Milbury was arrested and charged with 3 counts of armed robbery. He is a suspect in 3 carjackings this morning, so federal charges may also be coming.
Dramatic video of rescues on the Outer Banks today. The red flags were flying. That means it's not safe, legal to swim. But some tested the waters anyway and had to be saved after getting caught in dangerous riptides.
And the second victim of last month's explosion at Fort Bragg has died. John Davis died early this morning at the burn center in Chapel Hill. Davis and another worker, William Holden, were burned when an explosion ripped apart the maintenance building where they were working. Holden died just a few days after the explosion. Jerry Garcia, the leader of the Grateful Dead, is dead from an apparent heart attack.
In the Haight-Ashbury district of San Francisco, Grateful Dead fans gathered in mourning where the band first got its start. TV5 photojournalist Dave Wertheimer checked out local reaction to the death in our area.
My darling, sugary.
I see, well, a large part of my life I've spent doing something which has turned out to be more fun than I thought it was going to be.
The entire music world in shock this afternoon at the news that Jerry Garcia, the leader of the Grateful Dead, is dead at age 53 of a heart attack. They're acknowledged as one of the biggest draws in the world, and so many people have seen the Grateful Dead in so many concerts. These people feel like they're family, and it's the patriarch of the family who's passed away. Hey, WRDU.
Hi, I was calling to find out if it's true that Jerry Garcia died.
Yeah, afraid it is. He died of a heart attack.
Well, are there any details about, like, funeral arrangements or anything?
Not yet. There's a big gathering in Golden Gate Park in San Francisco this afternoon.
Hey, for those of you who don't know already, Jerry Garcia is dead. Right now we're going to hear something. I'm sure there'll be many people upset over it. I don't know what I compare it to Elvis dying. Maybe to... Oh, goodness, I don't even know who I'd compare it to.
So proudly we hail.
Death is going to change the face of a lot of popular music.
I don't think that they'll be able to tour anymore.
It's a loss to everybody.
All the Deadheads, what are they going to do now?
I'm going to be able to get around to everything that I potentially love in this lifetime.
Jerry Garcia died this morning at the age of 53. No funeral plans have been made yet.
Welcome to Franklin County.
Well, this is a beautiful place to live.
Justice is so small, it only takes that long to drive through it. There isn't much to justice, aside from some farmers and some goats. But today, the American justice system was on everyone's mind.
Our judicial system is preying on the child abuse, and it's gone too far.
One trial in particular was on their mind.
At this point, Susan Smith, sentenced to life in prison.
Well, I've always thought that premeditated murder meant the death penalty.
I don't think taking another life is going to help. It's certainly not going to bring the children back.
If I were her, I wouldn't think that justice had been served. I'd want the death penalty.
In the fields think a prison term instead of death is plenty of punishment.
Because she got a life sentence where she'd have to suffer and think about it the rest of her life.
And then she'll always be thinking about what she did. So it'll be a lot of punishment there. A great deal. Back up, Leo. Great deal of punishment.
People here say they are happy to see justice served, but the system needs some work.
It's the judicial system that we should be upset with. It's making us look silly.
The Durham police have a special name for this bridge.
We call it a felony bridge because a lot of times crimes are committed, drugs are sold and bought, and this bridge is used as an avenue of escape for the drug buyers as well as sellers. I think it had a good purpose to start with, but over the years, instead of the good people of the community using it, I think the criminal element have really taken advantage of it. And a way to alleviate that is to have it dismantled.
Dismantle it because the neighborhood has changed to an area known for drug sales and prostitution. And people like Shirley Terry, who rely on this bridge as a convenience, agree something needs to be done.
Too many drug-related crimes, a lot of prostitution going on. people have been getting killed right in this area from that, between that and this end right here before you get to the tracks. It's a lot of death. It's a lot of crime.
But I remember before the freeway got here, it was all one community.
But now it's a community divided. Even so,
I'm for one about tired of Durham just destroying. I mean, you get an alleged house that sells drugs, first thing to do is tear it down. Arrest the people and put them in jail. Why tear down the house? I mean, it's a home for somebody. Why just tear it down because some people allegedly selling drugs there?
in the meantime, it's neighbors like David Montague who live near the bridge and are afraid.
No, I don't go through it, man.
American Gothic.
When you support the United Negro College Fund, you give more than money. You give dreams that may have died the power to live.
To be or not to be? That's the question state and federal leaders are considering when it comes to formally recognizing North Carolina's Eno-Okanichi Indians.
An internal power struggle has divided the tribe, but this weekend members are coming together to try to put aside their differences. TV5 photojournalist Dave Wertheimer went to Alamance County for their 11th annual powwow.
We as Indian people a long time been on the back street. We think we're just special people because we're the Okanichi people. Yes, we're trying to get recognized. We've been before the Indian Commission in Raleigh, and so we've been trying to get recognized as a tribe.
All right, so you know, Okanichi is a band of Indians that were organized back, as far as we know, in the 1700s.
You ready?
Yes, sir.
I'm always ready.
We need state recognition in order to better ourselves as an Indian tribe. Indian people has always got together as they call powwow, to get together and have their native dances, their native customs, and basically to get together with different chiefs and different tribes to just be together.
There are 8 of our brothers who did not return home from Vietnam.
Thank you, little princess. The average person doesn't care, but us as Indian people, we care because it could help us.
The fear is that I might see it not sadness, but a great joy.
The powwow runs through Saturday night in Alamance County off of Mebane Grove Road, just south of Mebane. The Eno-Okanichi Indians expect to hear soon whether they will receive formal recognition as a tribe.
It was built back in the early 40s. This is Salt Lake Drive-In in Durham, North Carolina.
Free Willy Part 2.
Back in, I think it was 35, there was over 8,000 drive-ins. And right now in the continental United States, there's only about 800 of them.
Hi, how you doing tonight?
4 children, 3 grown.
Screen, 36 foot by 48 foot picture is a huge picture to look at, and it's really something different.
Seems to be protecting her.
What's the whale's name?
Louie. Jesse.
We used to go driving when I was a kid a lot. So I'm one of my kids, so.
It reminds me of my childhood, something that we did when we were kids.
Daddy, are they going to catch the whale? This is my first time.
Wow, isn't that cool? We try to keep the kids off the street, and it's a good, perfect place to come, really. I think we're the only theater in the continental United States where you can go by, watch a movie, rent a video club, and buy a gun at the same time.
One from one like that one, 11-round clip to 31.
Because Jesse got on his back, and then he held onto his tail.
How are they going to save him?
Bring back a whole bunch of them. Just come out here with your sweet thing and tell you the truth.
I like it because it's quiet.
Yeah, I like it because it's quiet too. But it's much nicer if you had your girl with you. But tonight my daughter tricked me to bring her.
Come and sit with us, honey.
Kind of in a tight spot right now. Well, I like them because it's like a piece of history, you know. You're not closed inside, and just gives it kind of a, you know, old feeling, you know, back in the 50s and stuff like that.
Old drive-in days used to be what's happening, but people have got so wrapped up in other things, I guess it just don't matter no more.
I have a parcel I need to deliver up here this section.
It looks like he stepped out of a Norman Rockwell painting. Oliver Eugene Roberts is the classic mailman.
Everybody calls me Scoot. It's a name that I have, and it's stuck with me for a long time.
His nickname is well earned. Just by watching this 59-year-old professional, you can see why, after 26 years, he leaves other postmen in the dust.
I try to concentrate on what I'm doing, but I do sometimes think about things I might do when I get off, vacation, retire.
Today is Scoot's last day on his Hillsborough route, and after 26 years...
Are you retiring?
Yes, that's right.
Ah.
How do you feel about retiring?
I feel real good. My wife's retired, and we're going to do some traveling.
Good, but you've been doing a fine job since I've been here, that's for sure.
I certainly appreciate it. If you're going to do a job, to do it right.
Scoots is a man of few words. And on his last day, he remembers that old line about rain, sleet, snow.
The mail must go. I think a lot of my job. I try to do a good job. I think it's important. I've enjoyed my work.
Going to miss him very much. He not only is a very competent mailman, he's a nice person.
Thank you.
Much.
Thank you. Today's last working day.
Been nice.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Really do.
Yes, sir. It's a great institution. Glad you're going to join us.
Thank you. I want to.
I sure am sorry you're not going to be with us.
Well, I appreciate it. You've been good to me.
You've been the best mail carrier I have had.
That's... I am punch in.
Few men of action like Scoots have been able to make a graceful exit at the appropriate time. And with an exit like this, look out, retirement. In Hillsborough, Mark Roberts, WRAL TV5 News.
And we were talking about Hurricane Luis earlier, and as Luis looms off the coast of the United States, special planes keep track of it. Checking it out as usual this morning is the 403rd Air Force Reserve Hurricane Hunters.
Yeah. And TV5 photojournalist Dave Wertheimer is on assignment and on the plane now. And Dave is about to fly into the eye of a Category 4 hurricane. Actually, Category 3. It's dropped a little bit. And joins us now on the phone live from the airplane. How is it going out there?
It's going great, guys. We're about maybe another half hour to the end of the storm, and we'll be flying right into the eye for the first time in about 7:30. We're going to cross the eye about 4 times and drop some sound devices to measure all of the barometric pressure and all the things that you know better than I do. And all of that will be sent directly to the Hurricane Center back in Florida so that they can predict the storm that much better. The flight's going to take about 12 hours, and we'll be back on the ground about 5 o'clock this afternoon.
You know, flying into the eye of a hurricane, regardless of its category, it just sounds so dangerous. What are the risks?
Well, these folks up here do it all the time, and they don't mind at all. They, I'll ask Weather Officer Val Smith what it's like. She does tonight. Val, I mean, you do it every day, pretty much. What's it like?
Unfortunately, it's not every day, but you better enjoy the sunset and the smooth ride right now because it's going to get quite a bit bumpier. We'll get some pretty heavy rain that you'll think you're in a submarine for a while, and possibly get some good roller coaster out of it, too.
Thank you for that report, and we'll look forward to hearing more about the scientific data and the practical uses for it.
And Dave, I'm jealous. Be there and do that once myself.
And we will have some reports for you on Monday at 11 o'clock from what Dave learns from this very exciting trip.
Can't wait to see what he shoots on
Really?
that. That'll be interesting.
For time hack. 2:35 hack.
This is no ordinary pre-flight briefing.
Your mission tonight is flying Hurricane Luis.
This is one of several crews of the only unit in the world flying weather reconnaissance on a routine basis.
We have a concentric eye, which means that there's one inside the other.
Their mission is simple, to gather information for the National Hurricane Center in Miami.
We don't do any predicting or forecasting. We just simply give the data to them, and then they plug it into their computer, and their forecasters manipulate the data to issue the storm warnings.
It's a continuous cycle. As one C-130 lands from its 12-hour flight into the storm, ours takes off. It takes several hours to even reach the hurricane.
We're about 188 miles from the center of the storm.
And with daylight, the real work begins, preparing each of the drop sondes.
All it does is just stabilize the sonde to keep it from tumbling.
The drop sonde is a device used to measure exactly where the center of the storm is.
It's a big storm.
It will be dropped in the eye 4 times as the C-130 crisscrosses the complete storm.
It'll be calm for a minute, and bumpy for a minute, and calm for a minute as we reach one of those feeder bands.
The crew members work as a single unit, doing their jobs, knowing that they are making a difference.
What was the last reported diameter of the eye there, Arlo?
About 50.
The tourists would have never gotten out of the way if they hadn't had information from airplanes like this when the storm was well out to sea. Looks like the north quadrant may be a little bit worse for weather than the south quadrant was. It's certainly going to be bumpier.
The philosopher Rousseau once said, "Every man has a right to risk his own life to preserve it."
There's some nasty seas down there.
These weekend warriors love what they do and don't even think of the danger.
I don't feel that it's dangerous. We've been doing this, we've just celebrated the 50th anniversary this year.
The people I work with say I'm nuts, but hey, I get a big kick out of this.
This one is now Tropical Storm Marilyn.
It's one of the most active hurricanes ever in the Atlantic, and WRAL's Greg Fishel takes you in the middle of it all.
It's a very large eye. Some clouds now inside the eye, showing the edge of the eye wall out there at 37 miles.
Go aboard a reconnaissance plane with the Hurricane Hunters as they track the path of a deadly hurricane. Flying in the Eye, Thursday on WRAL's 11 o'clock news.
This one is now Tropical Storm Marilyn.
It's one of the most active hurricane seasons in the Atlantic, and WRAL's Greg Fishel takes you in the middle of it all.
It's a very large eye. Some clouds now inside the eye, showing the edge of the eye wall out there at 37 miles.
Go aboard a reconnaissance plane with the Hurricane Hunters as they track the path of a deadly hurricane. Flying in the Eye, tonight on WRAL's 11 o'clock news.
It's a very large eye. This is our 4th mission into this storm, and every time it's different.
Just flying into the eye of a hurricane isn't enough. There's vital work to be done.
Okay, Navigator has the eye on radar.
What we're looking for now that we're inside the eye is for this wind to fall off to almost 0, and that'll give us the geographic center of the eye, and that's when I'll launch my sonde.
The drop sonde is a data-gathering device that is dropped from the belly of this C-130.
Mark, release sonde.
Takes about 10 minutes for the sonde to get to the water. When I release the sonde, see the raw data of the temperature and the dew point.
The satellites can give you a good geographic location of the storm because they can see exactly where the eye is. But that doesn't give you the wind or the pressure center of the storm.
In 12 hours, the hurricane hunters will cross the eye 4 times.
We'll get some stadium effect visually. But
throughout the flight, data is constantly sent to the Hurricane Center in Miami.
Got a pressure on the sonde of 952, temperature 9.4.
And on board this flight is Naomi Sergi. Naomi works for the Hurricane Center in Miami, and her job is to plot the course of hurricanes. But it's not an exact science.
A science that we really understand so little about theoretically. The theoretical aspect of meteorology is not well understood.
This is 10,000.
Even from 10,000 feet above the Atlantic, it's still possible to see the force of the hurricane's 90-mile-an-hour winds.
And those wave heights are probably between 20 and 30 feet. And they're breaking.
This is about as much fun as riding a roller coaster for 12 hours a lot of times.
And at the end of this ride, the whole crew remembers that it's all done for one purpose: saving lives.
We're not able to stop the damage, but at least we can give them some warning and get people out of the way.
All right, so that's it. Cleared visual approach runway 5 at Homestead. You can contact the tower on stand by. Let me get the correct frequency. 133.45.
Used to be, downtown was the place to be in small towns. Used to be, blocks like this in downtown Henderson were thriving. Used to be, you could buy a horse or some feed here.
It used to be an alley down through the bay.
But not anymore. A quiet city is a contradiction of terms. Although this block is now silent.
It went in there, it's kind of slowed down.
Now, only a handful of tenants still exist, and they aren't going to be around much longer. This block is going to be demolished.
Several of the buildings that were beyond repair have been given to the city, and the city is interested in getting these buildings down so that in the future we can do something with it to try to keep downtown going.
Yeah. Downtown needs to be developed, it needs to grow. It hasn't grown recently, so this may be a plus.
I'm leaving the radio business, you know.
Said I've been living in Henderson all my life, and the bigger stores have moved to the outskirts of town, and I don't think they're coming back.
There can be no progress if people have no faith in tomorrow.
I hate to see the building go.
And in Henderson, faith in tomorrow is what they're hoping for.
I wish there'd been some way we could have restored it, but yet and still I think it may have gone too far.
From what I can understand, it's going to be good for somebody.